Music, fashion, inspiration, creativity, elevating your dreams to a lifestyle and beyond just an activity.
Hello, this is Cedric Bradley. Welcome to my channel. I am here to talk about the situation with Dawn Robinson from EnVogue. This was a tricky situation for me because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to talk about it after seeing her response finally to everyone's reaction to her going viral about living in her car. But I am such a huge fan of hers and a big fan of EnVogue, and I have been following both parallel situations and stories and drama that has happened over the time that kind of sort of led up to this. And also being that I was signed to Universal, I was signed to Polygram first, and I was signed to BMG before it was Universal. So there are some things that really trigger me when I look at this situation with her, because I know it's really not understandable how someone can go from selling 20 million records to living in your car. I mean, there are a lot of circumstances that led up to this. I mean, you have to look at the living situation and the cost of living in the United States, the food, and as well as other things. But I do think that there are some things that really are crucial that I have seen over the last years. I mean, they started in 1989. The group was formed in 1989. They released in 1990 with their debut CD, Born to Sing, which was a huge influence on me. I love that album still to this day. It's probably that and Funky Divas are, and EV3 is also an amazing album. But of course, Dawn was already gone by that point. But the most important thing I wanted to touch on is the actual contract. I was signed to a contract for Universal Records, and that contract was extended. It was the length of 5 years. 5 years is a long time when you are bound to a contract. And that's an international contract where you cannot do anything other than what's in that contract, which means that you are not able to hold another job because you are representing a brand. You are not allowed to earn money otherwise because of that brand. That's specified otherwise. But the thing that gets me the most is that when I was handling my contract, I did realize what a large stake the labels take away from you. What percentages you get as an artist. When I signed to BMG, I was a writer as well as a producer. And there's another special point that I want to get to. But then the artists are the last. They get the last cut of a cut of a cut of a cut, which means that your cut is given to you after promotion is taken care of. Promotion comes from your contract. Depending on, I can't speak for them directly, but I do know that my contract also had a slice of all things that were involved as far as travel and all that, which I reorganized my contract later when I signed to BMG. But I was always my own manager. I always represented myself. So what I noticed over the time, after they had realized that they were successful, and it is the thing that record companies do have to take a risk. There's no blueprint to tell you that those girls were going to be successful. However, they did not restructure the contract for the benefit of the artists. The artists were the people who were getting the last nickel from the contract, and it was literally a nickel because they realized that they were not making money after they had sold 20 million records. 20 million. Well, in total, Born to Sing didn't sell 20 million, but they sold enough to not have to worry about their future, or it should be the case. But what happens is, in the situation, the artists are then used to benefit the larger corporations, the larger record companies that are making all this money. And as they should, I think there should have been contracts, even from the producer's perspective, to help make sure that these women were getting paid. You had the same situation with TLC. It was the same problem. And I wonder why it was so continuous that artists end up in dire situations where they cannot survive. This is a problem. This is a problem that has actually changed the record industry in itself. That, being also the internet and streaming. The streaming came along, and then that was, of course, now self-promotion, and that just changes everything. So record companies now are looking more for artists who can promote themselves, who have built a fan base or a foundation. But I do not want to digress. I want to get back to that. So that started the whole drama behind EnVogue's inner turmoil with their company as well as the producers. Now, after that happened, they tried to renegotiate their contracts, and that was really a split situation. I mean, you can see all of this dialogue because they posted all the information on the web, so it's nothing that I'm making up. It's very difficult to renegotiate a contract when not everyone's on the same level or same mindset about how this works. And the girls were split as far as how they handle things. I mean, there is no school to teach you business before you become successful out of the blue. And they became successful out of the blue. Of course, you're singers and you're entertainers and you know that, but the record industry and the contract is such a tricky game because you don't know what your future holds as far as an artist is concerned. And I think Denzel and the producers could have done so much better to have a future for all of these people involved, as far as him or the two producers as well as all of the four girls. But that is not the case. So, and I think the most important thing is you listen to them, and everyone has a very special voice. They hold different parts stronger than others at different songs or different riffs or different lines or different choruses, depending on the color of the voices, depending on what the song requires. And that's what the thing I think that make them so special. They had 4 different qualities that really captivated the sound of soul, of the giving a new sound to that old school female pop group sensation. Be it the Pointer Sisters or the Supremes. But things shifted when the girls did not get along, and that's where the problem started. The problem started with them actually then splitting. Dawn left before EV3, which was kind of sort of heartbreaking. I know that they were all trying to have their solo contracts put into the deal after they renegotiated, but still that was bitterness and fighting between the girls because they were not all on the same page. This, I won't go into details because you can read it, you can see it, you can listen to it on YouTube. It's all there from both perspectives. So after a while, with them not having much success after EV3, after Riddle kind of sort of was the last moment where I went, oh, it's you can tell from the quality of the videos, they had lost the financial support for the videos, and they were not up to the standards of the ones that they had before, like Free Your Mind. And I think they really, also I think the quality of the songs kind of sort of diminished. But when they lost Dawn just had something extra special that you just can't replace. And, they have tried, but it has not been successful. I think the thing that worried me the most is when I saw that the girls split in two. You had Maxine and Dawn on one side, you had Terry and Cindy on one side, and they just started this unbelievable public dispute, which also ended up in the courts. They were both fighting for the name for the group EnVogue, and Terry and Cindy actually end up with, not Terry and Cindy. Terry and Cindy actually end up winning the lawsuit to have the name, which means that they won the brand, which of course for Maxine and Dawn was not such a great thing. Then came the performance where they did the special concert for their manager, which was so great to see them all back together again. But I Googled to see if they would be together after that. And I remember Googling that after that performance, and Dawn posted that she walked into rehearsals and she wasn't allowed to take pictures and she wasn't allowed to post anything online, and how angry she was about that. But even before that, Maxine didn't have so much negativity towards the group online before. There were a couple of videos they posted online before that were quite negative, and I thought, that's quite problematic to air out your business online, because it just creates difficulty to come back together for them. But I think for me, Dawn's information that she was providing was so brutal, and always, yes, it's honest, and you can say, okay, it's her choice, and it definitely is a choice. That's why it was difficult for me to make this video, because I think you have got to, I think it was also so fresh to have something like that happen online in the age of social media. You know, do I do it or do I not do it is a question. And I think when you're a part of something that's so successful, some things, or most things, are not necessarily everybody's business. However, every interview that Dawn did was low vibration. I mean, it was always so negative. And I thought, why is it necessary? Yes, she didn't get her dues. No, she didn't get her pay. And I definitely feel that she was justifiable, everything she was saying. I just didn't feel like it was necessary for it to be so public. So, how do you go forward is the key question for me. I had the same issue with my producing partner when we were signed to Universal. And after we had success, my first single with #1, which is Everything I Wanted, then my producing partner wanted more money. And the label didn't want to see him in the office or in the building. So I know how the issues start with money and greed and want and need. So after going back to the whole spat between Dawn leaving and complaining about not getting paid, which I can't believe they never settled that and got the group back together even for business purposes, for monetary purposes. Dawn went on to join Lucy Pearl. That did not go well. That's a whole other chapter. There's a whole other story, but basically it comes down to the same thing. I don't understand. I don't know the mindset of her particularly. I don't know what it is that makes it such a low vibration that she just has this wave of, what's the word? She just can't seem to get catch a wave up in her career. I mean, and it's so sad. And I love when she did the cover of Rocksteady. Rocksteady was just fantastic. And then they had the hit with Lucy Pearl, which I loved, but it never really, after that one hit that they had, it never really kind of sort of took off. Then started the personal problems and the issues with Tony. There was, of course, the fighting and the bickering. I don't want to go into details because I was not there. I try to stay out of the personal information, but it's all there online. They end up splitting. She ended up leaving and never sort of took off on her personal journey as an artist, which was kind of heartbreaking because she is a phenomenal singer. The warmth of her voice, the quality of her voice, the timbre of her voice, the power she has, the belt she has is just out of this planet. But somehow she has managed to, from my perspective, self-sabotage. And that's the thing. I didn't want to do a response to this whole process because I don't like the gossip aspect of printing someone's personal business that I'm not in her private life. But her response yesterday, I watched a response that was posted after it started going viral. Jermaine Dupri was reacting. Other artists were reacting. And she finally posted something saying, I'm so happy and thankful for this going viral, and um, thank you guys for all the support. And she will be posting something that will be a follow-up to her posting her living in our car. But my question is, of course, she's applied for jobs and she's done things to move forward. She had her assistant, and the fact that she still has an assistant, not being an artist. I don't know what the assistant actually does or did for her, because she has not been recording. She was recording, but nothing has been released that has been successful enough to say, I'm going to pay an assistant to keep me afloat, because most of social media is personal advertisement and personal pushing, self-advertising. But her assistant somehow afforded to put her up in a hotel before she landed in her car. And you think, how is it possible that she's not even able to land a 9-to-5 job? And I think that's a problem with the fact that she has a name, and it's just so tricky, I think, to have someone either have to be qualified to hold a job that's not a regular 9-to-5. I don't know what she applied for, but I found that very bizarre that she could not get a regular 9-to-5 job. She said she filled out 1,000 applications, but her assistant ended up putting her up in a hotel, and she said she was in the hotel. She stayed with her assistant for a while, but that didn't work out. So the assistant put her in a hotel and paid for it. And she said she was looking for an apartment, and he or she would not pay for the apartment because it was cheaper, but somehow it didn't work out. The details on that, she'll probably be posting it, or someone will give her a special. I hope that she gets a special to clarify for everyone what actually went on. But that is the case now, that she's living in her car. So, going back a little bit, a few weeks ago, I think it was exactly 2 weeks ago, Maxine rejoined EnVogue for a live performance. This was absolutely the most heartwarming thing I have seen and didn't expect at the sports event. Seeing Maxine, that was very heartwarming, which was really great to see her. So I was wondering if it's a one-off, is she going to come back? Are they going to keep her? Are they going to build on the success that they have? Because I think people will come out to see them. They have just left such a positive stamp on the industry and the music industry and the sound of soul music and pop music and hip hop, everything. They've really covered the spectrum as far as what is considered great music for the history and for the future. They've just left a great impression. But I don't know if Dawn will make it back to that group. I think she will have to change her low vibration mindset in order to get back to the place she wants to be. It's so tricky because you don't know what a person is going through, but I think she's taken that negativity and wrote that to a place where it hinders her from moving forward. There's so many opportunities. I think if she just sort of changed her way of thinking, it would work out for her. It would be so great if they could get back together again on Vogue. But she just aired out her dirty laundry after that last performance, and I was like, don't do it. It's online, you can see it. It's not a secret. It's not something that I'm making up, and I don't want to say what she said, but you can definitely, I'm not even going to link it because it's there. It's here on YouTube. You can see her complaining about, and I'm sure that she's absolutely right about not being happy about not being able to post stuff, and that Rhonda had, she felt like Rhonda was more important than her in the group, but she's been there 13 years now. 14 years of not this year. But you have got to start, I think, from her position, start a new day, start with today, because you can't go backwards and you can't relive it and you can't make up for things that went wrong. I'm hoping that she will change her mindset, get rid of the negativity around her, stop posting her private information and her anger and her issues online, and start thinking from a business perspective, because I think she can make it. But right now, as it stands, it all just works against her. I mean, negative press is probably the press that people want to see the most anyway, so this is going to ride, and it probably will bring her much success. I know people were telling Jermaine Dupri to give her an apartment, but life doesn't work like that. She's not his responsibility. But most importantly, she sounds like she's okay to live in her car, but I don't think that it's okay to live in your car. It's just not normal. I know it's become a thing. You look at Skid Row in Los Angeles, people living on the streets. It's where we are, but it's not where we should be. So I hope that Dawn will be successful, because she has the voice, she has the talent, but you need to have the business mindset. You need to get out of talking your business in the streets, to shut your trap, move it along, hold your business, get in those rooms, talk to those people, talk to those girls, get back with that group, make some money. Because Terry, she was in charge of making sure that group held the same standard that it was before. And I have to say bravo to her, because she knew it was about business. If you want to survive, there was nothing else she was possibly educated or studied to do after that. And why should she? She's made millions, sold millions. So I've been following them, and I also follow them on Instagram. And I have to say bravo for just being consistent. Consistency, silence and consistency, and taking care of your business will take you a long way. So I hope you enjoyed this. I was not sure I wanted to talk about them, because it's such a private matter, and it's not nice to see someone living in a car or doing bad in business. But I think that I just had to say that I think that it's possible. Never say never. And if I think that they can have a common understanding of what cannot happen as far as business is concerned, is about public information, about how you handle your business if things are going wrong, if it's in the contract, I think that Dawn can come back to the group. I'm interested to see if that will happen. I don't know how Terry feels, or if she's up for that, or if she wants to handle that. Now that has so much focus and it broke the internet, as Dawn has said, her posting her living in the car, of course, I would posting living in your car would go viral, seeing that you were a seller of 20 million records in a girls group, because that's just cheddar right there. That's just so much money being made. Unfortunately, not by the girls. TLC had the same stories I've mentioned before. But let me know what you think. I am not going to touch on this again, because it's a very sticky subject. But I just wanted to just give my 2 cents on EnVogue, because I love the group. I still have them on my laptop. I still listen to them all the time. I also teach to their music. So I'm hoping that after this journey, this will be a door open for Dawn to have a better future and not have to live in her car, because living in your car as you get older, she's definitely, if not in her 50s, getting there or almost there or at the door. But as an adult and as a woman, this should not be the case. There are many situations that will lead up to this, but this is not a future where you're safe in any situation living in your car. So I know that there's a community of people having to do that, but the community of people who are doing it do not want to be there. It's not a place that you want to live, especially in this day and age. So let me know what you think. Leave me a comment in the comment section what you think about Maxine rejoining the group. What do you think about Dawn's future? Hopefully they will get back together again, and we will hear some badass music. So peace, have a good day, and we'll see what's happening. Come on, Dawn, let's go, girl.